It is my honor to welcome all of you here to this program on the topic of management of children with special needs, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. This topic, I believe, is very timely, very important, because we are still going through the pandemic currently, and things seem to be getting worse as we sit and look around us. All of us here are directly or indirectly involved in the lives of children with special needs, and I think this topic is going to be very important for all of us to learn from. We have two experts with us, Mrs. Akila Vaidyanathan and Miss I.G. Anusha, who will be introduced in detail a little bit later, but who have graciously agreed to come here today on a Saturday virtually to help us along in this journey of learning and adapting, so that we can become better at serving the children in our care. According to physician Karl Koenig, there are three core aspects of special needs education that I would like to highlight here today as we begin this session. The three aspects, according to him, is the first is a positive social environment. So I'll repeat that again, a positive social environment. The second thing he says is the carer's work based on an insightful understanding on each individual child and their potential as well as their disability. So again, I say that the carer's work, carer is all of us here, mostly are carers. Carer's work with a deep insightful understanding of each individual child, their potential as well as their disability. And the third aspect is their medical treatment imbued with the courage to keep believing that the impossible is possible. Now, all of us sitting here in this call are the carers, most probably. We are the social environment to these children. We are the carers who are looking at their disabilities and their potential. Karl Koenig also believed that the so-called handicapped people are integral human beings first. They have a human individuality which in itself is separate from their disability or their limitations. It is therefore up to us as the carers to view them not only through the lens of their disabilities, but to view them as whole individuals as well, and to provide them with that environment to explore themselves to their fullest potential. It is up to us. Now, Annie Sullivan, as you might know, Helen Keller's caretaker, she did exactly that. For over the 50 years that she spent with Helen Keller, she provided her with an environment where she could explore her fullest potential. The young Helen, the visually impaired and the hearing impaired Helen, was a wild child who terrorized the household with her tantrums. But Annie Sullivan connected with the girl, and the girl slowly began to acquire signs at an astonishing rate and eventually learned to speak by touching Sullivan's face to feel the vibrations from her nose, lips and larynx. Now, a video clip showcasing how this was actually done, and many of you might have seen that clip, shows Helen Keller's hands on Annie Sullivan's face and neck, like this. It's completely full on. And I don't imagine it would have been easy for Annie Sullivan to have a girl and then eventually a woman keep touching her face and her neck in order to understand the words that she was speaking. But if it wasn't for Annie Sullivan's efforts, who knows what would have become of that young, bright but unmanageable child at that time. Would she have become a writer? Would she have become a political activist? Maybe not. Similarly, my brother Jethro too, for those of you who know, was not able to speak. His only way of communication was using his shoulders to point to alphabets one by one in order to form words and eventually sentences. If my parents didn't give him the time to communicate through that probably tedious method, he wouldn't have been able to share his thoughts, his ideas, his poems. Would his life be influencing people now if my parents had not put in that effort? Maybe not. When I think of the qualities that is required in our life of service to the children that we care for, the words that come to my mind are dedication, innovation, self-sacrifice, and patience. Now, all of us were brought into this world of service in one way or the other. Some of you, like my parents and I, were brought into this world because of a family member who was born in a certain way. Some of you chose this as your careers. Some of you had some personal experience or some exposure to this world and were brought into this world. And some of you felt that calling to serve. Now, whatever the reason for your joining this community, I believe that all of us in this call today have an important calling on our lives of service to the people we have been placed with, to the children we have been placed with. To serve not only their physical or their intellectual needs, but to serve their soul needs as well. In our innocent desire to help them become normal, we should be careful not to stamp out their genius, their individuality, and their soul. Today, as we learn about specific ways to support our children during these different times, I would like to bring to your attention a statement that was said about Annie Sullivan at the end of her life of service. At her funeral, it was said, "The touch of her hand did more than illuminate the pathway of a clouded mind. It literally emancipated a soul." And that is what I believe is true for all of you here as well. Your calling is to serve. Your calling is to free the souls of those you are taking care of, to be able to become all that they can be, even with all their limitations. For your lives and for your service, I am eternally grateful. Thank you.